is a poor people habit you'll never stop doing, no matter how rich you get. Story 1. I'm never going to waste food if I can help it. The fact that people casually throw away half of a meal is crazy to me, especially when it's at a restaurant where they paid a 100 bill. Story 2. If I use paper towels to just dry my clean hands, I don't throw it away right away. If there's crumbs to clean up or a spill, I use those same paper towels. Story 3. I grew up with no money, and now even though I have enough, I still really love eating my pavo meals. Instant ramen with an egg, Vegemite toast with cheese, though that might just be childhood nostalgia. Story 4. I know people who don't eat leftovers. This is just so wasteful. Food is food is food. Throwing food away because it's a day old is way too foreign a concept for me. I also can eat the same thing 3 days in a row and not be bothered about it. If that's what there is, that's what I'm eating. I can afford variety now, but wasting food? I just can't do it. Story 5. Checking clearance at clothing stores first. Sometimes I find great things for really cheap. Also, wait for the highest possible percentage off on a going out of business sale. Story 6. Leftover nuts and bolts and other hardware fasteners tools from new furniture kits, old broken appliances, etc. It goes to the garage so I can use it in 15 years. Story 7. Thrift shops and yard sales. If I did have a surplus of money, I'd rather spend it on things like travel or ways to treat myself trying new food, beauty services, etc. than material items. Also, fast fashion and overproduction are terrible for the environment, so it makes me feel great to not fuel those industries. Story 8. Driving a sensible car that I have paid off. I have zero desire to upgrade to some mid-tier sedan of a particular make so that I can signal that I'm moderately well off. Story 9. Not wasting food or throwing away food before 7 days. I have a very comfortable financial life, but I will keep everything for 7 days and then I throw it away because I remember being hungry and that will never happen to me again. Story 10. Turning off lights when leaving a room. Adding a little water to get the last of bottled sauce, condiments out, saving the last broken bits in the bottom of the chip bags until I have enough to crush and dredge chicken in for oven-baked chicken. Making and freezing homemade bread and biscuits, it's cheaper and healthier. Making my own jams, jellies, and canning them. Using coupons and buying stuff on sale. Story 11. I'm not sure if it counts, but even if I were filthy rich, I'd still like to be on my bed laying with my cat and nap together. Depression sucks, but I enjoy having company with my baby. We're nap buddies. I mean, as opposed to traveling or whatever, if that's what rich folk like to do. Story 12. Collecting the complimentary soaps at hotels and keeping a stash of fast food napkins in my glove box. One, save your money, and the other is just practical and cheaper than buying tissues or paper towels. My dad had these habits and I picked them up. He grew up poor, went to med school, and became pretty well off and renowned. The habits never stopped, though. Story 13. Funny enough, I am comfortable making big purchases now, but it's the small fees that send me over the edge. 300 concert tickets? No problem. 2. 50 service fee on top of it? Sorry, I can't go anymore. Story 14. I don't upgrade my phone nor my car. We run them into the ground. I still coupon. I reuse gift wrap and bags. Always turn down heat when not home or sleeping. Same with the lights. Mend clothes versus throwing them out. Story 15. Eating shitty room temperature chicken nuggets. It's nostalgic for me because of elementary school. For a time, school lunch was the only time I'd eat during the day. For some reason, those chicken nuggets with those duck sauce packets was heaven. I could be a billionaire and I'll always return to it. Story 16. Stopping private personal conversations when waiters or other service staff are nearby. It boggles my mind that rich people carry on regardless, like they're not people. Story 17. You'll never buy a new car. I'm good at finding clean, low-miles examples that are 3 to 4 years old, and oftentimes am able to get them $20,000 off MSRP. Our most recent vehicle was bought last fall, a 2020 VW Tiggan Highline 4Motion with 20,000 km $12,500 for $29K CAD. In those first 3 to 4 years, I just don't see anything but the depreciation. It makes it hard to want to buy new. Also, I buy my shirt sweaters from Blank Clothing, jeans from Blue Notes 20 each, and everything else on sale. I refuse to buy cheap, but I also refuse to pay full price for most things, unless absolutely necessary. I'm patient and will wait for deals, clearances, etc. My fall 2024 iMac I just picked up was for $650 off on OpenBox. Always on the lookout for a good deal. Story 18. Second and third, guessing whether or not to throw out a Thrash t-shirt. Well, it's clean, so after wearing it, you'll toss it instead of washing it again. Washes it again. Story 19. Estate sales. Rich people's stuff for one? Absolutely. My whole house is furnished by downsizing octogenarians. Grandfather clock, hardwood 6-if dressers with dovetailed drawers, matching cherry nightstands, leather couch, and an entire shop of tools. All for pennies. Story 20. Reusing paper plates if they are not dirty. If I make a slice of toast, I'll knock the crumbs off the plate and keep it for later, using a tissue a second time. maybe a third time, using the back of an envelope for shopping list. I could keep going. Story 21. I never toss food. Leftovers forever. Seeing people leave big plates of food in restaurants makes me sick. This also includes adding water to condiments and shaking it around to get it all out. Story 22. Doing my own shopping and cooking. But that's not poor, according to the National Index. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So, yeah, it kinda is. Story 23. Not paying $40-60 just to park my car before a concert or sports event. I'd rather show up an hour early, free street parking, and grab a meal from a local spot before eating shitty stadium food. Story 24. Free essentials. I have 3 packs of TP and you're offering a roll bet. Travel toothpaste at a hotel, best believe. Sugar sweet and low at a restaurant. Meanie. Story 25. I always eat and repurpose leftovers. Friends would go crazy that I'd take home leftover fries, but I'd throw them in a pan to just a bit of olive oil and maybe some hot sauce the next day for lunch. Today for lunch, I put out leftover spinach pie, a cut-up nectarine, grapes, last night's leftover salad, some toasted stale bread and hummus. We ate like kings. Edit and 2 leftover meatballs. Almost forgot. Story 26. I wasn't sure when I saw the title of this thread, but based on some comments I've seen so far, here are the ones I agree with. Using plastic grocery bags as trash bags. Using paper grocery bags as recycling. LOL. Putting water in hand soap to make it last longer. Turning off the lights when leaving a room. I'm actually surprised more people don't do this. What's the point of leaving the lights on in a room that no one is in? Doing my own laundry. It's easy and I enjoy it compared to other household chores. Story 27. Not buying bottled water. I go to a water store and get my 5-gallon water bottles filled for $50 a gallon. I'm not paying for a 20-ounce bottle of water. Story 28. I wear older clothes for gardening, housework, DIY, until they fall apart. And they do fall apart. I like to run out of some food like bread, milk, and cheese before buying fresh stuff. Story 29. After emptying a can of tomatoes or whatever, you've got to put a bit of water in there and splash it all around to get all the goodness out of the can. Story 30. Smoked oysters in a can slaps. Shopping at dollar stores, Walmart, etc. Not getting the latest iPhone, searching for deals on regular everyday items and clothes. Selling feet pics. Story 31. Something I still catch myself doing is ordering just enough food when eating out. Rich people order everything they want and then just not eat it if they don't like it. It never bothers them. Story 32. Cutting up my old t-shirts to make rags for the garage. Washing out my Ziploc-style bags to reuse them. Turning the heat down low at night while I'm sleeping. Reading magazines online that I download from the library for free. Story 33. Ransacking hotel rooms for little soaps, lotions, and shampoo. I hate that some hotels, even nice ones, use those big dispensers mounted to the walls. Besides looking trashy, I don't get little souvenir toiletries. Story 34. 1. Buying used furniture. 2. Not wasting food. 3. Keeping everything in case I need it again or can find another use for it. 4. Checking my account balance before spending any money. Story 35. Cheap food, junk food. Fine dining will never be for me. Give me the simple life any day. Fish and chips, kebabs, ramen, fried chicken, pizza. Obviously not every day, but if I had to pick between sitting in front of a TV with my friends eating the food I like or a fancy restaurant, it's an easy choice. I still look for sales when shopping for clothes and electronics. Story 36. My mom and dad are loaded. We all sort of are, and in their 70s and still insist on buying their clothes, whatnots, and unmentionables at Walmart. I just bought a wallet from Neiman's, and I thought I was going to have to rush mom to the hospital. Story 37. Fixing all my own stuff like cars and other things. It's a pride thing at this point and not about saving money. I also don't trust the general techs who are just punching the clock and don't care if they strip out a bolt hole. Story 38. Dude, I still wait for the bus everywhere, even though I can afford a taxi. Just got used to it. Buses are always late, so I leave early. Friends laugh that I have a BMW sitting there, but I still take the bus sometimes. Story 39. Never throw out clothes until they literally fall apart. I have a t-shirt that's 15 years old, full of holes, but I still wear it at home. Wife says, throw it out already, but I can't. What if I need it for the garage or something? Story 40. Still wash my hair in the sink even though I have a proper bathroom. Just got used to it since childhood. Shower was a luxury. Girls think I'm weird, but it's more convenient and economical for me. Story 41. Collect all the sauce packets from McDonald's and other fast food joints. My fridge is stuffed with ketchup and mustard packets. Why buy a bottle for $3 when I have tons of free ones? Story 42. Always check parking prices before going downtown. I'd rather arrive an hour early and park for free somewhere far away than pay $20 for an hour of parking. That's just highway robbery. Story 43. Only buy used cars that are 3-4 years old. Why do I need a new one if it'll lose a third of its value in a year? Better to get an almost new one and save a ton of money. Friends don't get it, but I don't care. Story 44. Add water to shampoo when it's running out. Shake the bottle and use it for another week. Same thing with dish soap. Wife says it's nonsense, but savings are savings. Story 45. Turn off lights when I leave a room. It's automatic now. Don't understand people who leave lights on in the whole apartment. Why waste money on emptiness? Story 46. Do my own laundry even though I could take it to a dry cleaner. It's not just about saving money, but also being sure everything's done right. Plus, it's kind of meditative. Story 47. Take a water bottle with me everywhere. Won't buy in stores for $2 what costs pennies at home. Plus, it's eco-friendly and healthy. Story 48. Don't buy anything when I'm tired. Notice that evenings after work I spend way more money on random crap. Now, I only shop with a fresh head. Story 49. Make coffee at home and bring it to work. Coworkers buy Starbucks for $5 and I pour mine for 50 cents. Save like $1,000 a year easy. Story 50. Calculate how many hours I need to work to buy something. A $100 shirt? That's half a day's work. Suddenly don't want to buy it as much. Story 51. Remove card info from my browser. If I need to buy something online, I have to get up and get my card. By then, I often change my mind about buying. Story 52. Buy meat and fish on sale and freeze them. Freezer's always packed, but when prices jump, I have supplies for a month ahead. Story 53. Get clothes repaired at a tailor. Hole in a $50 shirt? Tailor will fix it for $10 and it'll last another year. Tailor sometimes laughs but takes the money. Story 54. Split a portion with my wife at restaurants. They give such huge servings that it's enough for both of us. Save money and don't overeat. Two birds with one stone. Story 55. Go to thrift stores and flea markets. Why pay for a brand when you can find the same thing in great condition for way less? Plus, you find vintage stuff. Story 56. Buy on end-of-season sales. Winter coats in summer, swimwear in winter. Yeah, you have to wait. But the savings are way bigger than the patience required. Story 57. Never throw out food. Dinner leftovers become breakfast. Stale bread becomes croutons. Overripe fruit becomes compote. Mom taught me, and it's sacred. Story 58. Buy generic drugs instead of brands. Ibuprofen is ibuprofen. Why pay 3 times more for fancy packaging? Story 59. Wash my car with rainwater. Soap up the car, see storm clouds. Wait for rain. It'll wash off all the suds. Neighbors look at me funny, but water's free. Story 60. Collect all the hardware and bolts from furniture. Got a box of this stuff in the garage. Years later, there's always a use for some random bolt. Story 61. Only buy bread and milk when they completely run out. Can't stand when products go bad. Better one day without bread than throwing out half a loaf. Story 62. Wear old clothes for housework and garage stuff. Why ruin good clothes with paint and oil? Old jeans work perfectly for that kind of work. Story 63. Check my card balance before every purchase. Yeah, even when I know there's enough money. It's a protective reflex from times when the card could get declined. Story 64. Buy concert and theater tickets months ahead at early bird prices. Same seats cost twice as much on the day of the event. Story 65. Collect loose change in a jar. Over a year, it adds up to $200–400. I save this money for something special or emergency fund. Story 66. Read magazines at the library for free or download them online. Why buy a $10 magazine that you'll read in an hour? Story 67. Use coupons and cashback services. Friends laugh that I'm like a grandma with coupons, but 10 to 15% savings per year is serious money. Story 68. Cook meals for the whole week on Sunday. Portion them into containers and freeze. Cheaper and healthier than buying ready-made food. Story 69. Change my car oil myself. Auto Shop charges $100 for the job. I do it in half an hour. Plus, I'm sure about the quality of oil and filters. Story 70. Squeeze everything to the last drop from tubes and bottles. Cut open the toothpaste tube to get the remains. There's enough for another week in there. Story 71. Subscribe to all store newsletters with sales. Spam in my email, but I know about all discounts first. Plan purchases around sales. Story 72. Buy vegetables and fruits in season and freeze or preserve them. In winter, I have my own tomatoes and cucumbers instead of store ones at crazy prices. Story 73. Use disposable plates multiple times if they're clean. Ate a sandwich? Shake off crumbs and set the plate aside. Why throw out clean dishes? Story 74. Go to stores with a list and calculator. Count the total as I go so there are no surprises at checkout. And I won't buy extra stuff. Story 75. Do apartment repairs myself. YouTube and patience replace expensive contractors. Yeah, takes longer, but way cheaper and with quality guarantee. Story 76. Wash Ziploc bags and reuse them. If the bag is clean, why throw it out? Wash it, dry it, and use it again. Story 77. Buy medications from online pharmacies. Same drugs, but 30–50% cheaper. Free delivery if order is over $50. Story 78. Switch to LED bulbs. More expensive when buying, but last 10 times longer and use way less electricity. Pays for itself in a year. Story 79. Buy clothes online at end of season. Winter coats in March for half price. Summer stuff in September. I know my size, don't need to try on. Story 80. Never eat at airports or train stations. Bring food with me, or buy at a regular store nearby. Airport sandwich costs as much as dinner at a restaurant.